Cobra is staging a massive heist of some kind of poison, and naturally the Joes are lying in wait for them. Guys, have you ever considered sending someone ahead to see if there are a bunch of bridge-shooting tanks and inefficient hovercrafts lurking about in any nearby warehouses? I feel like this sort of thing could be avoided very easily, especially since you have at least one ninja on your team. Speaking of inefficient, I am once again reminded of just how useless the psychic bond between Tomax and Zaymot is. While they're both fending off the Joes, one of them falls into the water and then they both start drowning. Seriously, how is this anything but a serious weakness? The Joes could literally kill these two birds with a single stone. The mission fails, Cobra retreats, and Cobra Commander throws his usual temper tantrum. Dude seems legitimately baffled by the concept of tanks.
Impossible! How could their tanks be impervious to our weapons? How?
Because they're tanks. That's the entire point of a tank. Do you even army, bro? Then Dusty goes on leave, returning home to a family that I can only assume is under Cobra control somehow, because that's what happens every single time anyone goes home on leave. And sure enough, Dusty's not in his sick mom's home 5 minutes before there's a knock on the door and an evil banker is there, threatening to foreclose on her or whatever it is evil bankers do. There's probably a youth center involved somehow. And I can only assume this guy is working for Cobra in some capacity or another, because I doubt the villain of this episode is a lack of affordable healthcare and the dark side of capitalism.
Please! No, I'm trying to help you! 2 businessmen came to my office, admirers of G.I. Joe. They said they want to help you out.
2 businessmen, huh? Well, that could be literally anyone. Oh, look who it is. Who saw that coming? Although, in fairness, I didn't predict it would happen in a cowboy bar where the patrons are wearing ridiculous costumes, but the G.I. Joe and Cobra dudes are in everyday attire. Oh no, Dusty's going to do that thing in the title, isn't he? Dusty's going to become the Traitor, Part 1!
We wish to offer you a little proposition.
We'll pay all your mother's medical bills in return for information
concerning the Joe's new armor system.
Dusty refuses, and because we're in a cowboy bar, the inevitable barroom brawl happens. The bartender seems genuinely surprised by this because I guess she's never been in a cowboy bar on a TV show before? Dusty goes back to his sick mom and realizes that he needs a lot of money fast, but surely that won't lead to anything important plot-wise. Then he returns to Joe HQ where he's briefed on that poison gas Cobra was trying to steal back in Scene 1. Turns out it's one component in some kind of mind control compound, which also surely won't lead to anything important plot-wise. When has Cobra ever shown any interest in mind control? Dusty whips out the business card the Crimson Twins handed to him, and I really have to admire the fact that their corporate motto is, "We mortgage the future in the present." It takes balls to commit to a brazenly evil statement like that. But yeah, he calls them. And of course, when you call these guys, they both answer the phone because of course they do.
Hello?
Dusty says he knows where the Joes plan to ambush Cobra next, which is a thing I was just saying they should know. So, armed with this knowledge, Cobra sends in a wave of robot dummies. No, not this guy. But how could they have known about this unless someone is some kind of the Traitor Part 1? The Joes actually work this out pretty quickly, and Duke decides to lay out a trap to expose Dusty. And sure enough, with his mom still sick, Dusty makes another phone call.
Talk to me.
What? Then the Crimson Twins conference in Cobra Commander, and I'm a little disappointed that he doesn't have the snake phone he had a few episodes back. He demands information on the new Joe tanks and refuses to help Dusty's mom until he gets it. Dusty is reluctant to turn more evil, but the overwhelming cost of healthcare forces him to consider the unthinkable. Guys, I think this show basically invented Breaking Bad. Meanwhile, the Joes raid a Cobra facility as part of the trap Duke set for Dusty. And sure enough, Cobra knew they were coming and abandoned the thing. And so, after barely escaping the exploding facility, the Joes returned to find Dusty snapping pictures of the secret formula that Cobra Commander wanted, with a camera with a Cobra logo on it. This does not seem like the usual farcical mix-up that typically happens in a Traitor episode. This is a pretty clear-cut case. I mean, it'll almost certainly end up being mind control since they mentioned mind control earlier, but right now, Dusty being court-martialed and sentenced to life in prison for treason, then busted out by Cobra, is a pretty hardcore way to end this episode.
To be continued on tomorrow's G.I. Joe.